I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, Avengers versus X-Men, which is Gary as the Avengers, like Hank Pym in it up over there, and Jeremy as the cool X-Men, so very much cooler than the Avengers ever have been, ever will be, period. End of story. We're back. Wolverine and X-Men number 10. How you doing, Gary?
Let's just both, hey, can Cole be the Avengers?
Yes.
And we'll just be X-Men?
Cole will just be Hank Pym in this situation, and we will be X-Men. You're Gambit, I'm Cyclops. We're having a great time.
Done.
Bring back Duckfest, please. Let's do it again, everybody.
Boy. We're talking about Jason Aaron, Chris Bacalo, Wolverine and the X-Men here. Mm-hmm. I love this cover. Super good cover.
I do too. Mm-hmm.
Before we get into it, though, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Things are good. Mm-hmm. I've been on it's been weird. I've been on a huge X-Men reading kick lately, which I know as a guy doing an X-Men podcast probably sounds weird. Like, aren't you always reading X-Men? And I do when we do this podcast, when we record this podcast. But I, on my own, have been just consuming massive amounts of major plot X-Men stories, and it's been really fun. Like, it's all events leading up to Avengers versus X-Men, so it's been fun to kind of get some background on some characters and some things that have happened, and it's been really, really interesting. Like, there's some good stuff in there. I've been having. Mm-hmm. I appreciate Hope as a character a little bit more now than I did when we started this whole endeavor. So,
yeah. I also started doing that. I'm behind you, but I started rereading some of the stuff leading up to this. And possibly for future coverage, but also just to give it extra context.
We could definitely talk about this offline, but the stuff that happens, the series Generation Hope that happens right after Second Coming, is way more like body horror than I ever expected to get. And it's really just it's almost like a mutant of the week kind of thing of like, oh, because Hope's back, there's a new mutant. Let's go figure out the situation, everybody. and it gets really fucking weird, really fucking fast. Like, people have bonkers powers and weird stuff. So it's very cool. I would highly recommend that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So we got that cover, which we mentioned. It's Cyclops, and we get to see Wolverine in the reflection of his visor about to stab him in the face. Super cool cover. And we're over here. We got internal monologuing from Wolverine during this issue, talking about, it hurts when he pops his claws. He gets used to it, but then during the beach fight, which we're not quite out of, we get one final little flashback here. It hurts like it's never hurt before. It was really tough stuff.
I was really confused where to put this in our coverage order, because this was definitely it definitely feels like it's before the events of Avengers vs. X-Men 3, but also, like, I guess they're telling me that Wolverine left Utopia, went to New York, changed clothes, went back to Utopia, and then got on a plane to go to the Savage Land with Captain Rogers. And I just find that very weird without a teleporter power. So, but it doesn't matter in the long run. Who cares? Because it's not really about that.
Yeah, it's definitely after, because it's after the X-Men have escaped. But it also just papered over Wolverine getting back from the Antarctic or whatever he does.
Yeah.
So it's definitely weird. He's sitting in having a drink in the headmaster's office. And Kitty Pryde is like, "Are you all right?" And he's like, "No, this sucked. Like, I popped claws against people who are family, and they called me a traitor. This is horrible. I hope this is the worst it gets." And Kitty Pryde looks out the window and goes, "Nope. There's worse." And who has shown up but the X-Men? X-Men, the prime ones. So Emma Frost, Cyclops, and Magic show up.
We haven't really talked about it, but Cyclops' outfit here is really fucking cool. I don't know if it's just Bacalo drawing it super cool, because this is the same outfit he's been doing for a while, but I just, like, the lines on this thing look really, really, like, it makes it look like he's wearing a dope jacket without him wearing a dope jacket.
It's a great outfit, like a really good redesign for Cyclops. Like, Dark Cyclops looks awesome.
Yes.
And basically Wolverine's like, you have a lot of fucking nerve here. We cut in on some of the subplots that are going on in this book when we're not reading it, where you have Rachel and Iceman talking basically about, the war, but then also about Warren Worthington, who had his mind wiped and believes he's actually an angel. Yes. She's gone into his brain. Finding none of the memories of old Warren Worthington. He thinks he's actually an angel and, is being a really good person, but he's not the same person he once was.
Exactly. Meanwhile, they both notice like some shit's going down on the front lawn, and it's because Wolverine, who has a pet Krakoa. Krakoa. I don't know why I have a weird time with that word. 6 Krakoa on Cyclops, Emma Frost, and Magic.
Yep. From inside the mouth, Cyclops like, you got a Krakoa here? Where'd you get a Krakoa?
Where did you get a Krakoa is a very good question. Thank you, Scott Summers.
Yeah, it's really good. He's like, call him off. I just want to talk. And he's like, well, okay, stand still and take your medicine. I love that, Emma Frost here, like punches him in the face. It's like, do you ever get tired of sounding like this like such an idiot, you little caveman? And they're gonna get. It seems like they're gonna get into a big fight, but they manage to de-escalate. Not before Magic melts some of Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, the demons are wondering whether this hurts. I'm glad to see that they're right. Like, of course it fucking hurts, man. Like, you're melting him.
You got a soul sword. You just stabbed him with a soul sword. Like, of course it fucking hurts, Ileana. Chill out. And yeah, like so there's some back and forth from Emma Frost and Kitty Pryde, who pretty much always hate each other whenever they're in the same panel. Like they will tentatively work together to, for example, erase Sebastian Shaw's memories, but like they're always going to be sniping at each other. And finally, Cyclops breaks this up by like blasting up the Krakoa, and is like, "Hey, Wolverine, like I came here to talk. Like this is the white flag. Like this man to man, mutant to mutant."
Yeah. And Wolverine, reluctantly agrees. Like they walk around, they look at the statue of Jean Grey, and Cyclops is trying to like bond with him, and then Wolverine's like, you got 5 minutes. Like, don't try to tug at my heartstrings. And Cyclops basically makes his case saying like, I'm here just to give you one last chance, like change your mind.
Real quick before we get into the actual philosophical stuff, like if I showed up at a school and you had made a statue of Autumn, I would be a little fucking weird about it. Like, I know that there's been some, like maybe you and Autumn have had some conversations on the side or something I don't really know about. Like maybe you had to murder her to prevent a cosmic entity from doing whatever several times. Like, I don't know what the exact relationship is, but she was my wife, and this feels a little fucking weird to me, okay? Like, Gary, I'm going to have to ask you to take this down.
Especially in like the shortest possible skirt Jean Grey could be wearing. It's like they did it. It's a statue of her in her old Marvel Girl outfit with like just and the statue is big, so you can't really look at the statue without looking at the upskirt.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
pretty wide. That is a wild move.
Why did you put Autumn's face on Bayonetta's body, Gary? This feels really weird for school.
Well, kids got to learn about Autumn's face on Bayonetta's body someday. It's a 101 level thing, Jeremy. And Cyclops even says it. Like, he's like, I gotta be honest, when I saw this, I didn't know whether to punch you in the face or thank you, He lays out his case, like basically saying, all the standard Cyclops stuff, like we're gonna lose our way of life, like this is about mutant rights issues, like I put myself in danger, but I needed to hear from you, no matter what our differences are, like I trust you. Nobody's more of an X-Man than you. Like, I need to hear you say it. Are you an Avenger or are you an X-Man? And this seems dumb, and Wolverine calls him out for being dumb, but Wolverine is being outmaneuvered.
Yes.
Here. I love strategy Cyclops so much.
And we're going to take a brief detour to Angel, the mutant so nice we had to name him twice. He was asking himself, like, who are you? And saying, I know who I am. This is punctuated by some scenes with Husk, who is now a professor at the school, and some younger mutants. We have Kid Apocalypse, aka I think Eric or Aaron, I think, who doesn't.
Well, he goes by Genesis. Now he's like the opposite of that, but yeah, or Ethan, I think is his first name.
And he's looking up like normal Apocalypse stuff, being like, people say I look like this dude, and I do, but I wouldn't do any of this stuff. Like, I'm not that guy. Meanwhile, Warren, aka Angel, who doesn't really answer to Warren anymore, thinks that if he's a real angel, then he could literally just fly to heaven, and it doesn't work. He gets close to space and then starts falling.
Yep. While this is happening, we go back to the conversation between Wolverine and Cyclops, and Wolverine is hounding him, or Cyclops is behind him hounding him while he walks to the school. They're making out their cases, here. Basically, like, we've stopped the Phoenix. Like the Phoenix comes here for a reason. Mutants are on the brink of extinction, and this seems really superfluous until you kind of get to the twist. Where it's just like they've already had this conversation before. What is Cyclops doing? And he's laying out. He's in speech mode. Like, I want the same thing that you do, a better future for mutants. Like that's what I need. I'm going to make this happen. Like the children are a future for this. You can keep trying to turn me into the villain, but I'm not the villain here. Cut back to Angel, who is falling. Kid Apocalypse manages to save him. Here, Genesis Kid Apocalypse, and they have this little moment where he's like, you're a good person. You're an angel. Tell me what you see when you look at me. And when Angel looks at him, he sees Apocalypse.
Yes.
Like in full fury mode, but lies and says, I only see goodness in you.
Yeah. And this is like working on a couple of different levels, because Angel has told Genesis, like, everybody says that I am just a mutant, but when I look at myself, I see so much more. I'm so much more than a genetic anomaly. And I think that's kind of fascinating, because when he tells Genesis, like, I see only goodness in you, Genesis literally hugs him. It's like, thank you so much. Like, it's very validating for Genesis, who has been told that he is a genetic anomaly and potentially like a supervillain, right? Like that has to be pretty good to hear that, like, oh, I'd see only goodness in you. And then we switch back to Wolverine and Cyclops. Wolverine saying that the time is up, and Cyclops saying that, you've got a nice place, and I came here and I tried, and I can't say that I didn't try. And Logan's like, well, why did you really come? And he's like, yeah, I didn't think I would change your mind, but remember, you're not the only X-Man here. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Which is the cool, again, love Tactical Cyclops so much. He was giving this speech all throughout the grounds because he wanted the other teachers to hear. He was going to pull on their heartstrings. They leave. And there's some cute little back and forth. Like Quentin Quire looks at Ilyana as like, oh, you're a Russian demon. How are we not already dating? And her saying, how tear you apart like the bear does the baby goat.
Reminds me of Sunspot from the New Mutants movie, actually. The same kind of vibe with that dude.
Yeah. Very similar. And the Wolverine kind of figures it out. He's like, you've heard every word. Rachel's like, yeah, I have to eavesdrop on my telepath. And he's like, no, I'm glad. You can see what kind of stubborn, arrogant nut job we're dealing with here. And nobody is along with it. Like nobody takes Wolverine's side at this point. They're like, we're going to go, but we're not going to necessarily be fighting on your side. And they all kind of lay out their cases. Rachel Gray is obviously like, hey, I've controlled the Phoenix longer than anyone. I know that it can happen, and I don't want her to die. I want to help her. Like, she needs my guidance. Gambit's reasoning for this is that the Avengers don't have any Southerners in their team.
Sure. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Is that real? Is that why you don't like the Avengers, Jeremy?
Maybe so.
They don't have enough Southerners.
Yeah. Put one Cajun on the put a Cajun on the team. MCU challenge 2022.
That's why Rogue ended up doing the Uncanny Avengers.
Exactly.
Is to get Gambit back in the fold.
Iceman says, or I guess I've already forgot this dude's name.
Chamber,
thank you. Says like, hey, I have friends on Utopia, and like, am I just supposed to like hang out and watch them get like beat up by the Avengers? Absolutely not. But Iceman says like, hey, like, Jean is one of my oldest friends, and the reason that I'm here was to help you. Like I'm here to help you, but now that this is
not
happening,
because I don't like Scott. Like it's not. I didn't stop believing in Scott. You just needed me, but now he needs me.
Exactly. Yeah. Because they're all his friends. Like it's Iceman especially has been around since the very, very beginning. So.
Yeah. And then Angel says, me too. Basically just saying like, hey, I've accepted I'm not an angel. I just lied to a friend of mine. An angel can't lie, and I can't fly to heaven. Maybe being around these old friends will be good, good for me. Mm-hmm. So basically the teachers all quit. Yeah. Not all of them, but many of them. Yeah. And Wolverine has this little end to his monologue. Like, it hurts every time I pop my claws. What happens if I don't? Who gets hurt?
Yes.
Really great little bit of character work. Like, no matter what he does, bad things are going to happen. There are no good choices.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is kind of punctuated with Edie, who is one of the mutants that pops up after Hope basically saves everything, right? Like, she was one of the first mutants to pop up, and they all, like, her and Hope are super best friends, being like, hey, she's really, really close to me. I don't want you to let anything happen to her. And of course, you know, Wolverine's whole thing is that he has to kill Hope to be able to avert this entire crisis. So,
well, it's there's extra. Edie was at the core of the schism.
Okay,
like him becoming close with Edie and not wanting her to become a soldier.
Okay,
you know, was a big reason why that happened. Then the final panel, the Shi'ar sent the Death Commandos. So if you didn't think the Death Commandos were going to be about, who are the Death Commandos? I don't fucking know. It's a bunch of Shi'ar mutants.
Yes.
Just weirdos.
And their mission is to find and kill any X-Men who are protecting the Phoenix Host. And they're the Death Commandos, so they can do that without question.
Yep.
Next issue is Wolverine versus the Death Commandos and Iceman versus Red Hulk, Gary. Can't wait on that one.
so
that one's going to be exciting.
Cool flashback back to the beach.
If you go to the next page and Marvel Unlimited, it gives you like the next issue splash, but also at the bottom left there's it shows you the cover of Wolverine 306. And is that not one of the coolest covers you've seen for a Wolverine comic in a long time?
I feel bad. I closed it.
Oh, okay.
I closed it.
It's like Wolverine's face, his ears, I guess, are going up into little brain trees, and he's got this like wide open stare look going on. It's very fucking strange.
Here, let me pull it up.
Oh, you don't have to pull it back up. I'm not.
Oh yeah, but I already did. Oh, that's incredible.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
That is really fucking weird though. Look at his eyes.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, who drew that? I need
Jesus
to find
Christ.
out.
Yeah,
what's going on in that comic?
Pelletier drew it. Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this issue. If you head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, you can support us. You can also leave us ratings, reviews on Apple Podcast or Podcast Addict, or tell your friends.
Yes, do all of that.
All
stuff.
very useful.
Yeah, we love you. Thank you for listening. We'll be back in a couple of days with more Iron Fist.
Ugh.